So the $1,000,000 question is, what do we do with all that past conditioning, our past limiting beliefs, or the past wounds and traumas? How do we heal that? How do we get over that? And, the paths to healing are many. And healing is also it's a very personal and a very intimate process. And there's no one way, but here's some, the highlights of what my thoughts are that can help you in thinking about that. So the experience of whether it's past trauma or the experience of living with the past conditioning and the experience of living with the past belief, that experience has already happened in the body, which means the body has remembered the feeling sense of it. So, and the body is holding that experience until it's ready to bring it to surface so it can be released. And, the truth is that the body can hold these experiences for decades. Yeah, and what happens that if we continue to create similar experiences based on the same old past conditioning and beliefs, then the experience gets deeper and deeper and becomes chronic and can turn into chronic physical illness that we don't know where it came from. Well, it's been in the years, it's been getting made for the years that we're holding that experience. So how do we heal all of that? First of all, it's important to remember that just because we've held a belief for many, 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 many years and lived most of our life based on that belief, it's not going to take equally as long to heal the experiences from that belief or to release that belief and create a new belief. And the second truth is the body does not know the time difference. When you recall an experience, it'll show up very quickly as if it is happening now. So it's almost, yes, the conditioning that it can cause illness, but at the same time, the experience is kind of really sitting, waiting to be digested, that energy is waiting to be freed. And, in the past or in the 3D matrix, which we are shifting from, and we are simultaneously going back and forth between third dimensional, the physical realm, and connecting with the energetic realm and understanding we are energetic light bodies. And the physical body is inside that light body. However you want to think about it, the point is that we are moving into higher states of consciousness. We are evolving, which also means, what is a higher state of consciousness? Which means that we are holding more light. Our cells the body is being upgraded, which it is holding more light. And I'll, explain in a minute what that means. But the third highlight is that the understanding that we have to go through the dark night of the soul in order for us to heal all the past traumas and conditioning. That very much was the kind of the third dimensional way of thinking, which is fine, and many of us have suffered through that. And it's because we didn't know that there is a quicker way out of it. The quicker way is that we understand that this is energy, and we understand that energy is looking to be freed, and we have developed techniques to free that energy. And we also understand the concept of choice and, our own power to choose to heal, which can speed up the process. So in the world, in the higher states of consciousness, and let me backtrack a little bit. Even this the higher states of consciousness, it's not something that is what it is. It's a new level of understanding and awareness. But what lies in the foundation of it has been with us. We have had access to it all the time. It's just that we didn't have the awareness that we could access it. And that foundation is that we are light being. All the traumas, all the conditioning, all the beliefs does not touch that that inner light. So, I used to explain it to my clients that think of that inside of you, you are this ball of light. No matter how much trauma, how much conditioning, how much beliefs, how many old limiting beliefs you've been dealing with, it can't penetrate that light. So what happens that when we undergo a trauma, so I'm using kind of trauma in the lighter sense of because it's just kind of equates a little bit more to old beliefs. Not talking about big major trauma, that's a separate issue, although the same principles apply to that as well. But what happens is that when we are operating based on a belief that we were raised with, a belief that we picked up from society, I believe that we picked up from others' opinion. And when we lived with that belief, there is a disconnect that happens, the disconnect from that sphere or the ball of light, the disconnect from the higher self, that's the light. It's a disconnect from your true essence. So when there's that disconnect, we lose our way. We lose our way, we experience more, efforting, we experience more like hardship, we experience more limitations, we experience suffering and pain, and we don't understand where that's coming from. And many times we continue to work with the pain and suffering at the level of the pain and suffering. It's, until we kind of come across a wall that we can't penetrate. So we have to go to a different level. So how we heal is by connecting to our true essence. When we connect to our true essence, which is we are light beings, then we are able to see more light, or we are able to shed more light into our limiting beliefs, conditioning, and traumas with the little t, even the big T. So when we shed more light, what happens that all of these experiences, they very organically rise to the surface. When they rise to the surface, we deal with them as they come along. So we don't go digging for trouble. And we don't have to go systematically by, okay, this trauma, I'm going to heal that, I'm going to heal that, I'm going to heal that. And as you begin to do the work, you'll notice that all of this is interconnected. When you kind of, poke a finger, when you ask the question, when you connect with your higher self, whatever is sitting in the subconscious mind is you're going to become conscious of it. And when you become conscious of it, it's not just one thing that shows up. It's like, many different connections, many different things kind of rise to the surface, and you begin to unpack it and you begin to see it in the way that you've never seen it before. So that's important to understand. So we don't need to go through and torture ourselves and regurgitate the whole past over and over again, because that just conditions our body to react in the same old way. What's important to understand that we are moving into the higher states of consciousness when we connect with our soul, when we connect with that light. In that connection, whatever needs to heal will naturally rise to the surface. And whatever rises to the surface, we see it in more light. And we go through the process of, the awareness, the acknowledgement, the acceptance, and opening the heart and finding the gift in it and anchoring it in love. When we do that, we free the energy of the old beliefs, the old conditioning, and the traumas. And it's even of more significance now, because where, like say 10 years ago, we didn't have the awareness that we could do this type of work. And also, now I don't even know if it's 10 years or longer, because I think the ascension process started somewhere in 2012. Some are saying it's before, but I don't know the exact time. But it's a more and more, people are waking up more and more to the fact that we are ascending. We are moving the third dimensional matrix and into the fifth dimensional matrix, which means that our state of consciousness is upgrading, which means that at the cellular level, there is more light, which means we have really become aware of the power of our mind to choose. We are understanding that the mind is a servant, not a master. So it's the ego, the mind, and we're really integrating the ego, the mind into the feeling sense, into the heart. So we're becoming more holistic, more integrated, where there's more available to us. So in the shift in the fifth dimension, we can choose to heal, to let go of all the past traumas and make a choice that we can create the beliefs that are going to serve our purpose, whatever that purpose may be. We can choose to heal, and it doesn't have to take decades. We don't have to be stuck in the same old way of thinking and old paradigms and keep repeating or perpetuating our predicaments. We can choose to step out of them, and we can begin to heal. And, also at the same time, one of the other things is important to remember that there is, anytime when we do this healing work, and many times a client would say, God, if I wish that I had known this before, I've been suffering for so long. And, my take on that is no time is ever wasted. All the time perhaps was needed for you to get ready to even look at it, to even be willing to look at it and look at it with the different eyes, look at it in different light. So, and also we do have to remember that at the soul level, all of us have chosen to experience all that we have experienced and all that we are going to be experiencing. And all of us at the soul level had chosen to be moving through this time of great shift. So we have a choice here. We can either keep holding on to the same old, and we'll be dragged into the, the newer, higher consciousness, or we can willingly, knowingly, powerfully step into that higher dimension and make a choice. When we make a choice, the healing becomes that much more easier because you've already chosen. Now it's just really a matter of tuning into all that's going to come up, rise to the surface, and freeing the energies off it, and continue to free the energies off it, because the energy, the old energy that begins to kind of suffocate your own inner light. When you free it, you become even more and more light. You become more of who you are. You feel holistic, you feel fuller and warmer and just more comfortable in your own skin. And when that happens, the mind expands. You are seeing things perhaps for the first time that you had never seen before. So we don't have to go through the dark night of the soul anymore, because we have awareness that there is a quicker, more light way than having to suffer. And I think all of us who have lived through the prior time in the third dimension, I think we have gone through a lot of suffering, and many of us didn't even know that we were going through suffering until we realized and experienced what it feels like to shift into this new paradigm. So it's important to remember that whatever we are experiencing or have experienced, we have decided to be here. And we can equally decide to end the contract and the soul contracts and decide on a new contract. We can decide that. So this is where, we talk about like karma. The karma really is the law of karma is the energy. What goes around comes around. And if we think about it deeper, we kind of know everybody knows their half truth because there is the other half that's invisible to us. And when that becomes visible, then we take that energetic responsibility for all of our energy and understanding that whatever our reality is something that we have created. So, and I know there's a lot of different angles to think about it. So the point of this is to really understand that we can heal from anything, regardless of how much we have suffered, regardless of, how deep the belief or the conditioning is, how long these conditioning or beliefs have been passed on to us from generation to generation to generation. Now is the time to sever the ties with that. We can do that. We are stepping into our power. We are stepping into knowing that we have a choice. We are stepping into knowing that the mind is our greatest tool. We're stepping into the knowing that there's more and more light into the world, and that at the cellular level, there's more and more light in our body. So we are just shedding more light into the limitations where we were looking at everything with a narrow lens. Now the lens has just become wider and is lit up, is lighting up more and more. So, to know that we all have, some old beliefs or conditioned, and everyone has, had traumatic experiences in their life, is how to know, like I said before, we don't go digging for it. We don't go looking for it. When we connect with our higher self, these experiences will become conscious. That's the point of the meditation, is to connect with that same intelligence that created us. And when we connect with that, whatever is in the conscious becomes conscious. Whatever becomes conscious, we just work with that. We don't have an agenda. We don't say, well, I'm going to heal. It's not like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's not like that anymore. It's not a linear process. We just work with what shows up. And, when I do that kind of work with clients, it's amazing how fluid it becomes. It just shows up. It just shows up. It just shows up. And we continue to work through it, We don't have to worry about, oh my God, what's this session is going to be about? It just shows up. They show up with it. So we work with that. So in a way, it's a very effortless, fluid, and a beautiful process. We just have to get out of the way and allow that to happen, and know and trust that we are stepping into a world, into a life where there is less suffering, where we can create the beliefs that are going to serve us. And in working through that is when we, begin to find why we're here, what our point is. So remember, everything is a belief, right? Everything that we experience, there's a belief behind it. Whether it's illness, whether it's aging, whether it's relationships, whether it's money or lack of money, there's a belief behind it. When we look at those beliefs closely and we understand that we can let go of those beliefs and create a different belief. When we create a different belief, it affects our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions, and hence the new reality. So, so believe that we can heal, and also not to worry or panic saying, oh my God, I wasted all of this time. No time is ever wasted. We needed all that time to learning. We needed all that time to be ready for the healing, for the unconditioning, and to step into the new paradigm, and to step into the new 5th dimensional way of being that is, here for us. So we really are at any given point in time at the perfect place, perfect time, and nothing is ever wasted. There's learning in everything. Once we learn, then that's the time that we no longer need it. It'll show up for you. So hope that was helpful. And please be sure to like, share if you do. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. I'm Meena Puri from Ayurveda Healing Center. Ayurvedahealingcenter.com is my website. And I will see you at the next video. Take care.